mute is off, and we're going to go in 3, 2, 1, and... Hi, welcome to G3. We're here on a July 10th. I think it's the 10th of July, middle of summer. Welcome back if you've been here before. If you haven't, welcome to our show. We're some women who live and work in the tech field, and we talk about a lot of different things. So today I'd like to introduce you to who we've got on the show. Up on my upper left here is Rebecca Woodcock. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, nice to be here. Good
and
morning.
And over here, my good friend Hallie Suit Tucker. Hi, Hallie.
Hey, how are you?
and a little bit raspy today. She's been traveling a lot. She's been having some fun, and I think her voice has succumbed to a cold. But we love to have our good friend Christy Wells. Hi, Christy.
Hi guys, good to be back.
Okay, you sound sexy, Christy. So just remember that.
I love the raspy voice.
So what's been going on? To me, it's kind of been a slow-ish news week. But I'll have you all sort of chime in. You might disagree with me, but I'd like to actually start with something. Rebecca announced our show last week that she does the show without makeup on, which made me frankly cry. Okay. So I'm going to ask you, it made me start to think about like everything. and then it made me start to think about Botox. So I'm wondering, you ladies, have you ever done it? And would you ever consider it, or any other plastic surgery? Because that's always kind of a controversial topic with the ladies.
I'll talk about that.
Please do.
Yes, I am a Bostonian and lived in LA for 10 years, and I hate all plastic surgery. Ew, but I also hated, GoPro. So, what do you care what I have to say? But anyway, the best help any LA girl gave me was the first week I got there. She gave me a big thing of suntan, SPF 883. And it's like, keep this on your face and wear a hat so you won't look like a mess later. And so that was my big facial revelation in LA. I'm not really big on plastic surgery. And a friend of ours, you notice Grace Davis keeps writing about it online. Great blogger. But I'm like, oy vey, that's all you have to think about or worry about? Anyway, so you asked the wrong person.
Aha. Okay, well, I asked a whole bunch of you. So what else? What do you guys think? Ever do it? Want to get rid of some lines?
I have done it. I am due for another appointment, actually. I've got like some wrinkles going on a little bit here, so I'll probably
girl, like you're
do that
12.
again.
And you look back.
Okay, so you've done it. You've done the Botox.
Yes.
All
yes.
right.
It's
All right.
a little
Well,
weird at first, but
I thank you. I thank you for being honest about it, first and foremost. And because I have this like line here that, boy, I'd like to get rid of that. So maybe.
I'm actually a fan, so I think I'm going to go back and get some more done. And actually, I'm a big fan of just doing a lot of these different facial, like there's different things that you can do, like the lasers and whatnot to correct skin damage or to get rid. I'm a big fan of all of that. So anything you can do to take care of your skin and make it look healthier or regenerate.
Hey, get off the beach.
So are you talking?
Get off the beach, California girls. Get off the beach.
That's
okay.
Hallie, you're talking to California girls. That's kind of silly. Though I'm probably the whitest one in the group. So I probably
sunscreen.
I will say, last spring I had started to get really deep, dark lines right here in my tear index, and I went in and they put a little, I think it was Restylane, right here and here to fill it up a little bit. And I'm like, I loved it, and I'm probably going to go in and have it done again because it was something that I just immediately took a liking to. I just thought it was fantastic. And I did last year, I've done twice now, something called IPL, which is not a chemical peel, it's a laser. And what they do is they go, because I have pigment issues. So I went in, they just did a bunch of laser down my face. And it looks sunburned and I look gnarly for a couple of days. And then the dark spots come out too. So I'm a huge fan, like Rebecca. If you can do little things like that, I don't need lip plumper. I swore I was not going to do anything at all when I was in my couple of years ago, but as I get older, I realize I kind of want to look a little fresh.
Right.
So
Right. I think I'm in that same ballpark. I don't need the lip plumper upper either because I got these. I mean, I've always had plump lips. But yeah, I think, get a little older and start to think about these things. And I think that the use of social media has also pushed people in this direction because, we're on camera more, we're doing selfies, we're doing all these things. And it seems like it's driving a lot of people to do things so that they look better online. And I think that's, I'm not sure about that excuse or reasoning, but it's happening a lot.
No, it's
Well,
driving.
some people are going
it's driving
to
people
that.
crazy.
Drive people
Some people are
crazy.
going to extremes, though. I mean, I saw on TV the other day this woman who she was having nose reconstruction and chin reconstruction. She's
Oh.
actually reconstructing her face
Uh-huh.
so that she could look better in selfies. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I
a little
think
bit.
I am
it's a
totally
extreme to me.
not. I'm not a fan of that at all. Of ending up with something other than what you started with. I mean, maybe erasing some lines is not such a big deal. But what about you? Were just saying something, Christy?
yeah, I mean, I think it's subjective too. I mean, if I was born without a chin, really strong, prominent chin, and I knew it was going to accentuate the way I look, I might get a chin implant. Some people get cheek implants. I'm a big believer in working with what you've got, but I also think that, if that's what some folks need, that little modifications are great. But I do worry about the culture we're in where, there's a very prominent family and one of them has actually, had her face completely changed over the last couple of years since she's released her sex tape. And,
Who is that? I don't even know who that is.
I
What are
wonder.
you talking about?
Kardashian, right? Kim
Who?
Kardashian. Kim
Oh,
Kardashian.
those people are like paper mache dolls. They're
Right,
not
but
actually
that's-
really people.
But that's what I'm saying, though, Haley. It's like for me, or Haley. That's the thing that worries. Sorry, Haley. Sorry.
It's okay.
That's the thing that worries me the most is when you start looking at what folks go to that extreme, and they get in the public eye, and that becomes the worship thing from younger girls. And
Yeah.
I think it's important to appreciate people want to do minor modifications, but then also know there should be a limit. Of course, it's subjective, but at the same time, it's like we shouldn't worship completely changing the way you look. Because I worry we go down that slippery slope.
Yeah.
Those are non
I-
to me.
I totally agree with that. But there are people who are not comfortable with the way they look, and then I guess they start down that path of trying to reinvent themselves, and I guess it's okay for those types. But geez, I wish they'd start first. I think you have to start first with with some comfort, right? I think so.
Yeah,
Of comfort about yourself, and I was wondering, about the chin thing. What about when you have a few chins? So like me.
I would not be adverse to getting rid of that. Trust me.
Yeah.
I'm so
Well, I
against
think
it,
y'all
and
are beautiful.
I think it's coastal. I don't know
Oh.
any girls on too many women I know East Coast that are so casual about it, and most of the
Really?
women I
Go to
know
New York.
have done nothing, zero.
Really?
But Boston, we're
Go
busy
to
about
New York.
trying to fix our brains, not the outside, the inside. And
I bet that I know what you're saying. I think you're saying it's more of a California thing, but I think that maybe is it more hidden? Do you think on the East Coast? Do you think people just don't admit to it?
I don't
Because
know. don't know
I doubt
people
that it's not
do it.
happening.
Some people probably do, but I honestly don't know anybody. And okay, you want to talk ages? How old are you guys? I'm 58. I wouldn't ever do it. I think it's craziness.
Mm.
So maybe I have a face that looks 58. Maybe I have a face that doesn't look so 58. But I give a shit. I have things I have to do. I'm also completely don't touch my face with a knife. Like,
Right. Yeah.
And I had cataracts since I was like 0 and had full cataract surgery, both eyes, when I was 40. And it was wonderful. It helped me. I'm really glad I did it. But the idea of like anybody doing anything, to me, it's completely non-essential. If people don't like the way I look, hey, fuck.
Too bad.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much. I mean, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be 47 this year, right? So I'm not so worried about what other people think, because if I did, I would have had lipo in my belly and bigger boobs put in, right? But I think it's more about how you feel as a person. And, there's some people diet and exercise. Some people go in for a little Botox to get rid of a wrinkle. And, I'm not sure it's 100% coastal, because I have some friends who I won't call out that I know have had some work done. And y'all look fabulous. But, it's to each their own on it too, I think.
Okay. Well, let's easily segue into Hollywood. Speaking of Botox and facial reconstruction and all that stuff. So the Emmys just were announced, the nominations for the Emmys. I don't know if any of you had a chance to take a look. So let's take a look.
I know that Orphan Black is not there, which is not good.
Hallie.
Orphan Black's a great show. I'm really sorry to see it not there.
Right. So that was a pretty big snub. The actress who plays the lead characters in Orphan Black, I don't remember her name, but she does multiple personalities on the show.
Amazing.
Pretty well, because that's a tough thing to do, and do it convincingly, and I get pretty convinced. So let's see. So
her name is Tatiana Maslany.
What a pretty name.
And it's a great show.
So the best comedy series, we've got Big Bang Theory, Louie, Modern Family, Orange is the New Black, Silicon Valley, and Veep. Yes, Silicon Valley got nominated for best comedy series. Surprise?
Maybe I need to watch it. Yes, I have not watched it yet. I have yet to watch the show, so now maybe I will be motivated to actually take it seriously.
I think in the last, or the second to the last show of the season, we did get a glimpse of our friend Mike Arrington for about 3 seconds. I think it was fun to see him, of course, playing himself. And let's see what else we've got here. Best Actress, we've got Lena Dunham from Girls, Edie Falco for Nurse Jackie, Julie Louis-Dreyfus for Veep, Melissa McCarthy, Mike and Molly, Amy Poehler, Parks and Recreation, Taylor Schilling, Orange is the New Black. No surprises.
I just realized, I'm not watching. I thought I watched a lot of TV.
Yep.
And
none of these.
I don't know any of these. I mean, I know the show names, but I don't watch any of them. So
I don't know. I actually haven't heard of most of these show names.
Really?
That's interesting.
I don't even have a TV.
Wow.
I don't watch on cable anymore, and I've watched most of these. So I must on Netflix and on Amazon.
I have seen Orange is the New Black, the first season, not the second season.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
So that's interesting. So very little, you guys have very little exposure to this, really.
Right.
Interesting.
Well, we really watch the net. We don't watch TV. I think it tells you a lot about what we do, and more. I mean, aren't you guys on the net a lot?
I will.
And on TV
I will
all the
also tell
time?
you this, that Saturday Night Live, I believe, was nominated for what though? I'm not sure, but I did read that. Must be comedy show. I didn't get down to that in the list, but that how many years is that going strong now? That's kind of a unbelievable run. So I'll give you this is the only time I'll ever do this. My little claim to fame or brush with greatness was, I haven't talked about this before, right? About Saturday Night Live? No? Yes?
No.
Okay. 12 years old. I'm in New York City with my mom. We're on the set of Saturday Night Live. We had done the tour, and we were in the back we actually split from the tour because we were friends with one of the cast members of the first season. And this was the second season. We were there for the second season. And the reason why we knew them, my mom used to date Gilda Radner's brother. So we were speaking with Gilda, and I inadvertently met every cast member of the second season. And I guess the only difference between the first season and second season was that Bill Murray came in for Chevy Chase, however you say his name. And I distinctly remember Gilda sort of pulling Bill Murray over. He was the new guy in the block, and I was totally in awe of him. Now, mind you, I was 12, and she kind of pulled him over and said, here, can say hello, talk, because she had to talk to my mom sort of privately for a minute. And Bill Murray he's a big, tall guy, and he sort of leaned over me, and he was young Bill Murray then. And he's talking to me, and my jaw just, any time I wanted to say something, I was just starstruck. So I remember that as my first starstruck moment, and it was a great delight to meet the not ready for primetime players. So how's that for a story?
Very good.
Okay.
They started. I read the Wikipedia. It began in October 1975.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
kind of amazing.
And I think I was there in 76.
That is so long. But I mean, not about your age. We're not talking age. Very touchy
I'm
subject.
50. I'm 50. Hello.
But, I mean, that show has been on since 1975 and could be nominated for an Emmy. It's
Yes, that's pretty
incredible.
remarkable. Yeah. So kudos to them for pulling off the show. Let's,
amazing.
There's another show that's kind of near and dear to my heart because of what we've got going on here, is The View. And it is in turmoil, or I don't know, maybe we shouldn't call it turmoil, but there's a lot going on. Do any of you watch that, or have you ever watched it?
We don't watch
I
it,
have,
I bet.
but
No?
I don't really.
Ugh.
I don't watch it, but I have seen it.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. What's going on with them?
Okay, Christy, how about you? No, never?
I've seen an episode not intentionally. It's just not. I.
Were
Okay.
you being tortured? Were you like a hostage?
I know.
What happened? Like, okay, you must watch this.
It's probably best that I don't explain why. We'll just move on, and Tina can explain why the turmoil's what's going on.
Okay. Well,
hear
so Barbara Walters created this show about, I don't know, I might get it around maybe 17 years ago. And the intention was to have a show where women come together and talk about what's going on in their lives, and have it be just a show for and about women and topics that are near and dear to women's hearts. Lately, Barbara Walters retired from the show. She's still an executive producer, but she has basically, left the show as a co-host. We had the departure about a year ago of Joy Behar, who had been there since the beginning. We have the hosts lately have been Whoopi Goldberg, Sherry Shepherd, Jenny McCarthy, and who am I leaving out? I guess Barbara Walters. So about a week or 2 weeks ago, it was rumored that Sherry Shepherd and Jenny McCarthy were leaving, which leaves only
Nobody.
Whoopi Goldberg. And about a day ago or 2 days ago, they actually announced on the show that, yes, indeed, Sherry didn't renew her contract. I think there was a contract dispute, and she decided that, her time was sort of done there. She'd done 7 years. And Jenny McCarthy, I think she was fired. The audience never really warmed up to her. I think it was a huge misstep that they ever cast her to begin with. She had been very vocal on social media for quite some time over um, over not
No vaccination.
no
Vaccinations.
vaccinations, right?
Right.
And I think it was a little tone deaf that the producers didn't acknowledge this or think about how impactful that might be. I don't know if that really came into play, but it did for me. And I just, I think she's more of a, I don't know, I kind of think she's more of a nighttime gal anyway. Um, but I don't think the audience really warmed up to her. So they're all out now, and there's rumors maybe they might bring a man on.
Oh, I thought it was rumors that we're going to be on.
Well,
I'm waiting for that.
ladies, the seats are up for grabs here. Come on, this is your
You
audition.
can finally make it the tech view.
The
Yeah.
tech view. Well, we are the tech
Tech
view. We
view.
have been called that.
Well,
So,
no, actually,
and
we
that's
have
why
more-
you should all know about the show. But they are maybe struggling a little bit to find, their new voice, I think, of what they're going to be going into the next, 17 years, maybe, if they're so lucky as Saturday Night Live.
I would
So-
do a show with Whoopi Goldberg and us talking about tech. That would be
They-
fun.
Well, they do talk about tech when
I
stuff
know.
comes up. They do
I've
they
heard
do
about
handle it. And there's also a rumor that Rosie McDonald might be coming back. She was a controversial host
Yeah.
and didn't always get along with other people on the set or at the table. And I don't mean that Rosie didn't get along. I mean that the dynamic was contentious often, and they often point a finger at her.
Yeah.
But she might be back. Who knows? So
These are shows. I have to say, we need to name these. Girls, help me name these. These are shows that you watch at a certain time, like listed in the newspaper. Like, who does that? Like, nobody does that. Like, who knows when these shows are on? Because I never watch anything that's on at a certain time.
That's a good point.
Well, you
but
can
what about time
DVR.
shifting?
Have you heard
Yeah.
of DVR? DVR. Just
Yeah.
just record it. You can record
But
it.
I feel like
I still record a soap
even-
opera. So, every now and then I look at it.
I don't know. I even feel like a DVR is old technology.
It is.
Like
it is.
in the day and age of Apple TV and Fire TV and all these TVs, online services. Like, who has a DVR anymore?
Well,
I don't
Right.
even have cable. I don't have a DVR.
Well,
I
most
mean,
Yeah.
most
not
of these
worth it.
shows are on demand these days also. So that I mean
Yeah.
that you can do it, it depends on your personal preference. I mean, I've got
I hate cable. I don't want cable.
don't want cable.
Oh.
Here's a question though. Would anyone watch that show on demand? Is it an on demand type of thing, or is it a time filler because no one else?
Yeah, I think it's that kind of show that it's
Yeah.
like it's on a Monday morning. Hey, what's going on today? Monday morning kind of thing, I don't
if
know.
nothing else is
It's-
on, I'd rather watch this than something else.
It's
Like,
a little
it's
newsy. It's a
nothing
little.
fun.
I've always felt that I sort of like kind of what we do here, which is to talk about things as long as we damn well please talk about things. I don't like a producer sort of moving something on because
so true.
they've hit the 3-minute mark. So I agree in that way. I like long form a little bit more than the staccato sort of thing that show does. But I think the perspective of women's voices has always been compelling to me. So here we are, ladies. Part of the reason why we're here is because of the View.
But that 3-minute segment is over, and we need to talk about potato
And we got
salad.
to move on. Okay.
We have to talk about potato salad.
Moving right along. And here's a note from our advertisers.
There you go.
Thank God we don't have a potato salad advertiser. They'd be put out of business by the Potato Salad Kickstarter program this week.
Please do tell.
I'll just quickly tell the crazy thing is just a guy saying, I'm going to make potato salad, and they have raised for $44,716. And this was sort of, but two things, I think. It was kind of a everybody's using Kickstarter or crowdfunding programs to raise money for every stupid project. So sort of a diss on crowdfunding. And it was also a joke. It was pretty funny, but a lot of people didn't find it so funny. Like, I think, Christy, what'd you think?
Oh my God. It tears at me that this actually still goes on, because we could put up a fundraising thing to get books in schools and raise $500. But somebody can put out there, I want to make a bowl of potato salad, and he raised 44,000. So I
Right.
guess I struggle with that, because it's like, wow, good on you, because you made the money. At the same time, I'm like, why can't we channel that energy for
Right.
more good for the community? And I just, sometimes people suck. I think we suck as a people sometimes, because, we get caught up in the entertainment of it, and we don't realize that there's so much that these platforms could be used for good. I get frustrated. I'm not going
Yep.
to say any more, because I'm going to probably be upset that I did, but I just,
How
this
about
campaign frustrates me.
let me offer you something else. So, Christy, what do you think about Reading Rainbow making 5,408,916 zillion dollars? So they just made 5 million and closed this week.
That's good. Actually don't know anything about reading this Rainbow company.
Okay. So
So,
Reading Rainbow was originally a show that was on public TV to help kids learn to read. It was taken
LeVar
off.
Burton, right?
Right,
It was LeVar
exactly.
Burton. It
LeVar
was
Burton.
on the show for during the 80s and the 90s. I remember watching it as a kid. It was on air for
Exactly.
23 years, and then they
oh
finally
wow.
took it off apparently in 2006. But LeVar Burton, he had this vision of really,
Bringing it
reviving
back.
it.
Right.
So he put this Kickstarter campaign and for $1 million, and blew past that. It raised over $5 million, became the most backed company ever to
Ever.
launch Kickstarter, the most backers at something like 93,000 people
Actually, they have
gave money.
I am reading it. It's 105, 100,005
Oh,
backers,
That's
which is
fantastic.
that was an old
See
number.
that? I love that, right? I mean but that hits at the core, because I guess I have a little more of the community spirit running in me, and so campaigns like that it makes me warm and fuzzy. Making a bowl of potato salad doesn't, So
Yeah.
I guess it's good
I
knowing
don't
there are
even.
campaigns that get funded, and that's good on LeVar Burton to be doing it. And I'll go read up on it more too and donate to the campaign, because I think that's a worthy cause.
It's
What is this?
closed, so it may
And what
be
does
too
this
late, but you
potato
can't.
salad do? I mean,
It's
it makes us it makes us cringe. I mean, is it just seriously? Is this a joke?
Well, I don't know the guy who did it, but I can tell you what I've been reading on Facebook reaction to it, and a lot of people are really pissed. Like, okay, you understand we're in a situation where many people are just plain starving, and the poverty level is it's a mess. What's going on right now, and if it was a joke, and if some people find it funny, okay, it does. In some ways, I'd be pretty mad if I were Kickstarter. It's a real diss, I think, but. What do you guys think?
Or it's actually a good show of the Kickstarter platform, that you can raise funds for any project, right? I mean, I would hope he donates some money to, maybe local charities so they can fill the food banks. But, if he doesn't, he doesn't. He put it out there. People funded it. And, Kickstarter, it's actually like a case study that you win, it works.
Hallie, do you have the description of what the
I do. I'll read some. And it's interesting, since I'm working on a Kickstarter to help promote LED lighting and clean energy, which well, dumb me, I think that's an important and worthy goal. And it's certainly not made $5 million, I can tell you that. So it's kind of like, or even, it hasn't, well, we've made more so far than the potato salad. But here's what potato salad can do for you. You can actually get, they have, each Kickstarter has rewards, right? So the
rewards are kind of a joke, and they're pretty funny.
They
Go ahead
are.
and read. Yeah.
Are you reading some of them? Like,
No,
the
I've
deluxe-
read them before, and it's
the
pretty fun.
$5 deluxe package, you choose a potato salad appropriate ingredient, and you receive one bite of potato salad and a photo of the guy named Zach Danger Brown. I think he's in danger of going to jail, maybe, as this being fraud or something. It's not. It's legitimate. I'm looking at, you can receive, of course, a potato salad themed hat along with a bite and a thank you and a picture of him making the potato salad. Who cares? And I'm trying to look at so the biggest one is a $50 contribution, Potato Salads of the World, and you receive a recipe book with potato salad recipes inspired by each country. We're a backer, along with a bite of potato salad, has a photo. I mean, there's no, what Christy suggested, like maybe you feed people who are hungry.
Okay.
This must be an updated version, because the original said had one reward of I will say your name while making and stirring my potato salad. And
all right. So I get the answer. This is a joke. It's not real, and I think it demeans Kickstarter. It devalues it. I mean, then you start to think about Kickstarter and you go, well, you can do this silly stuff on it that's meaningless,
right?
And maybe I need to think twice about who they are. So is it a fault of people who are coming into Kickstarter and starting campaigns, or does Kickstarter need to put some fail safes or something in there to avoid these kinds of things, because it will kind of erode at I think the community's feeling over it.
They're rather stringent, and I've been involved in a number of Kickstarters, and they ask you, they want to know if it's legitimate, and I'm confused like how it got up there at all, because usually people are like, wait a minute, this isn't this. I've seen very valid Kickstarters turned down. The other part is we're in a bigger context of this kind of prototyping and maker movement. Just this past 2 weeks at the White House, Obama invited on a very secret list of people the makers, right? It was a Makers Day in the White House, and met them, and a lot of people we know that are involved in the making movement. It's serious. So crowdfunding helps those people. So is this a big diss to them too, that all that American make is like potato salad?
Are we talking about diversity of Kickstarter programs, and does that lead us into some other topics, Hallie?
I will only go slowly there, and you guys can jump on as you wish. Now, I like to use the hashtag Minority Report, because that's the movie, that goofy movie, but it's they're holding people's corporate feet to the flame, let's say, to report how many women and how many men work, and other levels of diversity in big companies. Google led the start of it by saying what they have. We were seeing more data come in, and they're comparing different Yahoo's numbers and Google's numbers and different numbers. And it's in a bigger context, too, in lots of women complaining about not being treated properly in the startup community, etc. So it's a big, how much of this do you want to bite off and chew? This is a big, big sandwich, a big mess.
Well, a piece of it.
Okay, which piece?
What piece do you find the most interesting or controversial? Or
this is my one thing I would mention, which is it's often categorized as not enough girls go to, computer science degree programs,
STEM.
Right? And therefore there's not enough female engineers in high tech. Now, a lot of us work in things other than coding. Are you guys coders? We're women and we're in technology. So I think that's kind of a specious argument. The argument I would make is, okay, so in a corporation, there are programmers. They're not 80%. They're maybe 30%. There's 30% maybe marketers. 30%, let's call them operations and executives, right? So my feeling is that argument of like, if we just all went back and learned how, oops, sorry, I hit my computer. If we learned how to code, we'd all be into the club. I don't think so. I think the club is trying to keep women out, and I think nobody wants to take orders from a woman.
Well, it's true that the numbers of women in STEM categories, the what is that? Science, technology, engineering, and
And math.
math, are lower than that of men, but not as low as we. I don't think that the numbers actually totally correlate.
There was a
So
big
I think
article
that
about
that's
that this week. There
mhm,
was an article about that that's also a fallacy,
right.
that there's equal, almost 50-50% in, majors, STEM majors, female STEM majors in colleges. So there's even somebody shooting holes in that theory.
Hmm.
But I didn't mean to, contradict you, but that was another piece that came out this week that's, part of this whole package. I'll pull it up. I'm going
Yeah,
to look
no,
at
I
it.
don't think you were contradicting me. I think I was actually trying to say, but yeah. So, well, what about your field, Christy? I think you're, or in your line of work, you've got probably an overwhelming amount of uh, females. I would think. You want to tell us what you do? And by the way, I've got to apologize. Somehow my titles aren't coming up today. I'm not exactly sure why. So hang in there with me. I might get them on. But Christy Wells, I'll just announce you that way.
Thanks, Tina. So I'm in a family history company. I work for Ancestry.com. I happen to be on the marketing side of things, on social media and digital media, so on the tech side of the house. And I will say in our company, sorry, we definitely skew kind of 50-50 with regards to, I'll say most of the tech and engineering side is male, and marketing, PR, creative storytelling side of the house is female. And I just think that's where our abilities naturally like move towards, but it's not intentional by any means. It's just where we happen to be.
So it's Hallie. Does that kind of is that kind of what you're saying? Is that maybe women are sort of shuttled into where we might naturally be best, and there's a fallacy about that, like maybe we're these great storytellers, or we're verbal, or we're I don't know, people, and not the programmers and the. I mean, is that just the standard thinking that goes on where we get placed?
Well, I would say what I'm saying is that people who have the theory that because we don't know engineering, we can't be in these companies, or we can't start startups, or we can't take these jobs, is flawed.
Hmm.
That women might be good in those other areas. I'm open to that conversation, but as an idea of why we aren't in it, that we're not all programmers, therefore no women are in tech, is my point. That I don't think that works.
Hmm.
And I think, I have this article. I'm gonna put it up on our page, because it was saying similarly that the idea, there are often reasons women aren't in technology floated that are not in fact true. They're just
Yeah.
not true.
And I kind of tie into Hallie's comments is that I believe I'm in tech, but I'm not a coder, right? I've always been in tech. I've worked for database companies and data hosting companies, and now in a family history company who's very tech savvy. And I consider myself a tech person, but I'm not behind the word, the computer typing HTML all day. And I think that we need to be careful as we talk about the language and make sure that we're all aligned in that respect, that we're talking about the same thing. Because I think it can be people getting misinformed that just because there's not a lot of people in C# class,
Right.
that we're having an issue. And I don't personally see it. I have a lot of my women friends that are in the tech space, and I don't see that there's a huge issue. But maybe I'm in a bubble too, and I will say that just for record. But yeah.
Rebecca, what's your feeling on that?
Well, I completely agree with what's been said. I mean, if we're looking strictly at those categories, the STEM categories, and then the jobs specifically associated with that, then perhaps there is an issue. But I'm not a coder, and I'm not necessarily a mathematician, but I've had mathematics-based jobs in market research, and I'm a founder of a tech company, and I consider myself in tech. So there's an issue of definition, but I think also it goes back to the company diversity reports that have been coming out. I mean, no matter what you say, uh, whether it's STEM related or not, they still don't have equal. They just don't have the diversity equality that they should. So so they still have to account for that. I mean, you can blame STEM, but there are jobs that are outside of that, and their reports still do not reflect that. So I don't think it's a one-to-one comparison. And I just get so discouraged hearing these numbers and reports coming out, because I feel like it's the same conversation that we keep having every single week for years, and it's like, can we just stop? Great, transparency is important, but can we get to the next step already? Can we just stop talking about it and stop complaining about it and actually
Like,
do something? That's why
Yeah.
I think
I agree. I agree. Like, do something. But let me
that's why I
say
think
now,
Google's move to fund, Girls Who Code or whatever those, I think is an encouraging one. They're actually
yes.
putting their money where their mouth is and not just saying, "Oh, look, we're being transparent."
But doing
They're actually
something
doing
about it.
something. We'll see if that actually helps, but they're actually trying something. So I commend that finally.
Do we have numbers of, how many women are working in these sectors, but do we have the numbers on how many women actually are applying for the jobs? I don't often see that. So
Well, that's really
That
tricky.
I don't think you're gonna get. Yeah,
No.
I don't think you're gonna get the numbers there.
so
That's
if we've got a depressed number of women applying for the jobs and a small amount getting the jobs, that may make some sense. I mean, we need to kind of find out, where how many applicants are applying and how many are being looked at, and it's maybe not about are they being taken seriously. It's about are they showing up, are
Well,
they taking themselves seriously?
there's more and more this week on the Tinder thing and the atmosphere. A lot of people, a lot of women writing about how startups in particular, I mean, the ideal, career for any person in technology is that you start young, you're in a successful startup to begin with, you're a founder, and obviously you do what some of these 18 to 20-year-old guys are doing, make a lot of money right off and are in a big startup, and you go on to do whatever you do and invest in other guys like you or women. And so the more women can be at that place, the better. And again, that's the Y Combinator.
Is it better though? I mean, when
Well,
you
Y
talk about
Combinator.
Tinder,
Well, Y Combinator's leader wrote a long, detailed post, Paul Graham, again on this. There are just not enough women who are learning to code, and that's the reason they don't pick a lot of startups in Y Combinator that have women in them. And I just don't think that's legit as an idea. So can I bring in the Mark Andreessen stuff this week? What he was talking about?
you can do whatever you want, Hallie.
Oh, can I? Can I be on The View? No, please. No. Nobody watches it here. But just quick, the Andreessen thing, he did, again, as we've spoken about here, the tweet storm. Woo! It's like more catastrophic weather, right? It's a storm, but it's on Twitter. And he numbered off 10 points about how to damage your fast-growing tech startup. And they are all around. I'm going to give you a quick ones. Don't train your managers to just hire. They need to know how to fire too and manage performance. Number one. Number two, selling too much of your own personal stock early. Bad idea. Number three, diluting the crap out of the cap table. I'll quote him. Number four, maximizing absolute valuation of each growth round, which only makes later rounds harder to achieve. Okay. Number five, letting investors suck you into terrible structural terms each round. Good advice. Six, going public too soon. Not good. Number seven, pouring huge amount of money into overly gorgeous new headquarters, which he calls the edifice complex.
Ooh.
Good joke. Good pun. Number 8, assuming more cash is always available at higher and higher valuations forever. This could kill your company outright. Number 9, confusing the conference circuit. Notice my invisible martini, and especially the party scene with actual work. So this also creates a toxic culture on multiple fronts by encouraging alcohol and drugs and valuing so-called ballers over other important and less loud contributors. That's number 9. 10, refusing to take HR seriously. This issue isn't specific to just tech-heavy environments. It's prevalent in any highly creative, highly skilled workplace. And at a certain company size, you need to both have the ability to manage people and have an HR person with some expertise to help you. Without smart, effective HR, terrible internal managerial employee behavior leads to a toxic culture that can catalyze into a catastrophic ethical and legal crisis. That was number 10. And he's kind of talking about Tinder on number 10. Here's my number 11. Hire 50% men and women, and you don't have to waste any time talking about this anymore.
I want Hallie to read all my tweets from this day forward. Awesome.
They're dramatic. Chrissy,
This is a new startup, Tweet Reader.
Tweet Reader.
Tweet Reader. You heard it here first, folks. I guarantee that someone will brand that soon. Yeah, and you could, if I had young children,
the Fort Sync product,
I'll
right?
Y Combinator.
if I had young children, I'd have Hallie come tell them bedtime stories. Although this might get scary. I don't.
I terrified my son reading him books at night. You do not want me there.
So I would sum a lot of that up by saying, like, don't think that the good times are going to continue. I mean, most of those things are like, you know, folks, it's about work.
Right.
So,
Well,
and don't think that it's, you know, a gravy train or a money tree or whatever. But don't most of those sound like that to you? Hello? Oh,
I'm not talking. I want them to
love dead silence. I love
a lot
it.
of it feels like it's common sense, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I think
Yeah,
we get
exactly.
so caught up in the, you know, now is the time and it's always there, that people lose sight of settling in and actually building a great company and a team and being respectful to people as a standard. I think I love that Mark's put it out there, and there's a lot of positive, a lot of negative going on about it right now. But I just think for me, it's like, God, yeah, that all makes sense. Duh.
Christy, you've been in startups, no?
Yeah. And I'm married to someone launching a startup right now, so we're in the thick of it. So, you know, because I do come from a heavy startup culture, and I think I've been very fortunate to not have a Tinder-like experience, or maybe, you know, I've been blessed, you know, they represent women well, you know, that's very respectful, but I've also not been in a startup where it's been a 19 or 20-year-old founder. It's always been a little older. So I think that makes a huge difference. And this goes back to something we talked about weeks ago when it comes down to mentoring, right? Like, who is actually mentoring these startup founders to ensure that they have their heads screwed on straight?
The children?
And they totally get it. Yeah. Absolutely.
I think, you know, are we beginning to have see some ageism in the opposite direction, where you know, there's a problem with the young founders, and people sort of directing, you know, leading their companies into God only knows what, and they're barely out of college if they went, if they're there, and still have some of that mentality going on, and maybe not the best time of your life to, you know, start handling millions of dollars and people's lives and livelihood and dreams, and you know, I don't know. It's the
adult
here's the
supervision
thing.
Rebecca.
Here's the thing, and one of the things that Mark Andreessen's comments reflected to me was there's a lot of arrogance and cockiness around, especially young founders who really haven't been kicked down in life a few times. And so I think some of the things you see him talking about, like exorbitant valuations and trying to maximize and being sloppy, and some people actually when they start a startup, they do it and they want it small because they want to avoid all of the
All
things
that,
that
yeah.
he is talking about. But if you want to grow, have a high growth company, you can't operate like that. You have
Right.
to get rid of that mentality and actually listen to what he's saying. And I think when you have these really, really young founders, you get the confidence because, which is great because they really haven't been exposure to extreme failure.
Right.
But you also get this unreasonable arrogance and cockiness where you start to see some of this behavior, and it's just not it's just not appropriate for company environments, for growth, for and they don't have the experience to actually grow a company like that.
Right.
I wonder
And I
also
agree
if
with
are they
Christy that there is
I
mentorship across the board that's needed.
I wonder also if this breaks down around gender lines also. The cockiness, I mean, even those words that you're
Well,
using might
I've
even
known some
apply
really
more to
cocky
men.
women.
What's
you
that?
know, we're talking testosterone. Excuse me, hashtag testosterone. And testosterone, I mean, if you've read anything, you know this. There's an amazing NPR piece where this guy went from guy to woman and wrote about it, and it was staggering. About he used to go in the New York subway as a man, and he's like, I could fuck her, I could fuck her, I could fuck her, and then he goes in as a woman, and he's like, ooh, they're all so creepy. I hope they don't. I hope they like leave me alone. You know.
How things change.
You got to hear that sometimes. It's amazing. Anyway, back to the business of startups. Everybody who's raised a teenager knows male and female teenagers have no prefrontal lobe. As I yell at my son, you have no prefrontal lobe. The prefrontal lobe is right here. It's a thing that lets you, this is like when you get a lobotomy, the prefrontal lobe lets you know is there are ramifications for your actions. Wow. It's been documented. You kind of don't have one until you're about 26. So think of who he's talking to here. People who do things with no sense of what's going to happen. And Christy hit it right on the head too. It's like you're building a business. You know, you're not doing the party circuit. And I wonder, like, is he watching Silicon Valley TV show late at night? Because this is what I'd stand up and scream at the screen, you know?
No,
like,
I think it's the culture of Silicon Valley right now. I mean, we're social people, and I will say we spend a lot of time at parties and events, but we're also know the difference between going and getting shit-faced versus going and networking, right?
Right.
And I think that it does come with a sense of maturity, but I think I was also a very mature 19-year-old, so I think everybody's different. It's an interesting industry to be in, and I think that it's just going to come down to mentorship and people understand, the rights and wrongs of life. But we, and I say we as in Silicon Valley, have cultivated this so that everybody's expecting an immediate payoff, and these IPOs that are going for billions of dollars. We've kind of screwed ourselves. We've kind of created the little monsters that we're now having to raise.
Right. And I think he's talking about
it's intentional creation. I mean, it's the lie that is being sold to these young founders so that they are enticed to start building these companies, and it is the environment feeding this culture because it creates the deal flow and it creates these starry-eyed young entrepreneurs who want to make it big, and of course the industry wants that. VCs want that. Investors want that. They want this fresh new generation to believe that, so that they are still fighting for working 20 hours a day, and they don't have responsibilities outside of their startups. And think about that age group. They don't have mortgages or families or any responsibility. So this is obviously the industry. They want to entice that type of person to just be a slave to it.
I have to leave you with two songs, which would be "I Don't Give a Damn About My Bad Reputation." Okay, that's Joan Jett, and that was an old song. Which, and our Andreessen writes, "It's giving Silicon Valley a bad reputation." So that might be a title, or "Love Me Tender, Love Me True," because tender is the
Didn't you
biggest
mean Love Me Tender?
mess, huh?
Love Me Tinder, didn't you?
That was my point.
That was almost the title for last week's show. I almost
know.
went Love Me Tinder, but I thought,
I thought maybe Christy should do it because she's got that really low Elvis voice.
I'll record a voicemail
raspy.
right now.
Love me true.
Anyone who needs a new voicemail for their inbox, I'm happy to do it.
there you go. You can get the
Check it
nice,
out.
sexy voice from Christy
Right.
Wells.
Kickstarter campaign.
There you go. Oh, it only
I-
takes one great idea. Good idea, Rebecca.
I wanted to
Or
give
at
a little bit of
some
a
fun.
shout out to our a good friend Francine Hardaway, who's listening to our show right now and had put some comments in the Facebook field, and she's been a longtime listener of the Gilmore Gang, and she was commenting something about Christy was saying she agrees with Christy. So
Good.
Christy, someone agrees with you.
You're
I
a
think
smart
you know
woman,
Francine.
Francine. I love you.
And I actually would like, I want to get our chat room, which we've been posting, but for whatever reason, it's just not happening so much yet. And I'm thinking about maybe getting some people to sort of anchor it and encourage something going on there, because in the Gilmore Gang, the chat room, the live chat, and granted, most people can't watch the show when we do it live, but if you can, it gets to be a really interesting experience, and we're about to bring out some new tools that will help you do that. So I can't say too much about it, but we're in the process of creating things, so stay tuned. But the live chat has always been just this like really fertile area of the Gilmore Gang, where we've almost as many ideas that come up on the show come up in the live chat too. So we'd like to give them a chance to marry them, and we'd like to grow that area of this show. So there's that. Maybe Francine will help us out with that, because that would be awesome. So what else, ladies? I think we're about at our hour mark. We always say that we're going to try to wind up. Anything else that's burning that we have to talk about?
Did you like that Germany?
Oh
versus
my
God.
Brazil. Oh my!
That.
I almost got TV reinstalled. But I watched it on Twitter. I mean, I decided I'm going to just watch the crazy tweets, and they were hilarious. They were so good. So
Right.
It was really fun.
What it got the nod of like the most something. It was the most watched or most bungled or something game ever.
Well, I know it was the most devastating game for Brazil in 94 years. They have never been beaten that badly in 94 years. That was one little tidbit that I picked up from listening to the commentary that day.
God.
Did you see the
Really
Jesus
terrible.
statue? The Jesus statue going like this. I loved there was all these hilarious photoshops of the Jesus statue standing like this and then going like that. I mean, it was, and all the people crying. What? There's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in soccer. What was that crying?
Apparently there is in
As a
soccer.
San Francisco Giants fan, there
And a
is
lot
crying
of
in
it.
baseball. Let me be clear.
Yes.
I can't believe that, all that crying. I was kind of surprised.
Well, Hallie, you're tough. Damn, girl, cry.
Boston,
Hey.
man, that's bad.
Actually, it's funny. I've been so wrapped up in the World Cup schedule and watching the games that my dad mentioned that we're having the interleague baseball game with the Bay. So the Giants are actually playing the A's, which is a very rare moment, and I wasn't even aware. And what a great thing for the Bay Area!
All soccer,
I totally
all
missed.
the time.
Yeah.
In New York,
So
we
I
used to
guess
call that
there's
a
one more.
subway series or a subway game or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
They call it the
Why
Bay
don't we?
Bridge series for us.
What is it called?
It's the Bay Bridge
The
series.
Bay Bridge series for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah,
make her
'cause one
talk
side of the
more.
bay.
Talk more. I love to hear you talk. It's called the Beyblade
Yeah.
Series Plus.
I love that you
You
just gave me a total German accent, Hallie.
I
That's
know that was like
fantastic.
sort of half German,
I
half
believe that was
Natasha.
Russian.
The Germans were not crying. The
No laughing. I
Germans.
said no laughing, ladies.
No laughing. You'll cause
Damn.
Christy to have a cough attack. Okay. All right. So we're going to wind this one up. Wow. So we've got another week that we're doing our regular show. Then we're going to be off for 2 weeks, unless we bank a show, and I don't know that we're going to do that. So it's kind of fun to keep things timely. So next week we'll have a show, and then we're going to take a little summer break. Forgive us. But we'll be back. We'll be back. And we'll be back with some more ladies, because I know that at least 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 will be joining us soon, and we'll be growing our bench. So I'm really excited about that. I even have one of our first guests almost lined up. Actually, a relative of mine. I won't say who. It'll be a total surprise. But that's exciting. Exciting for me. So, ladies, we'll get to say goodbye in a minute. I am going to thank Ustream for providing our new tech for our wonderful TriCaster, where I get to push all sorts of buttons and have a lot of fun, and for Salesforce for their support. And Steve, my guy, my
Thanks, Steve.
friend, he's my pool boy, right?
Steve Perchance.
He, even when he can't be here, he tries to make himself available on the phone, and he did so today as we had a few false starts, and but we got this show going thanks to his support. So thank you, Steve. Okay. Who else do I have to thank? We've got a missing kitty cat. So if anyone sees our Charlie, please let me know. So sad. Sigh. Okay. All right, ladies. We will, this is Tina Gilmore signing off, and we're G3. We'll see you soon. Please remember to step outside of your comfort zone and do good things, right? Do good things. Come back and tell us. And ladies, you ready to say goodbye? Bye.
Bye, guys.
Arrivederci.